right, guys. So, what I got here is IELTS speaking tips. My students ask me every day, what things should we pay attention to when we are in the examination or before we enter the examination. We have most common questions here, frequently asked questions, FAQs, about 11 of them. I've been working on them here, as you can see. So I'm going to answer these questions, and I hope this will help you to get better and improve yourself. And probably when you're studying, you need to see this video first. And if you haven't seen it before and you have already studying, it shouldn't be a problem because you have to start from somewhere, isn't it? So the first question is, does eye contact matter for my school? Obviously, yes, the eye contact matter. This is not because the examiner wants you to maintain an eye contact necessarily, but this helps you to communicate better because you are telling something to them. You have to convince them. Well, a lot of people could be nervous when they come eye to eye with the examiner. If it makes you too uncomfortable, you can look a little bit aside, but usually I prefer to maintain an eye contact because it helps you to connect better and tell them as if you're telling a story to a friend. And in most cases, when you're feeling like this examiner is a little bit, how can I say, makes you feel nervous or uncomfortable, just try to assume this is my friend and I'm telling them something, that makes you feel more comfortable. You tell the story, tell about yourself, tell about the restaurants that you visited before and those kind of stuff, as if you're telling to somebody that you know. The second question, can I ask the examiner to repeat the questions? Of course, you can ask the examiner to repeat the question or to rephrase it if you didn't get the question right. But if you keep on doing it too many times or too much, they might think that your listening skills are off, that you don't understand what's going on. You're not as good as they assume. So if you pay attention and listen for the first time and get it, it's better more than keep on repeating again and again. But it's usually a better policy if you ask again if you don't get exactly what they are asking you. And mind you that in most cases, if you understand 80% of the question, you're capable of still getting your points or your marks during the speaking, because their first priority is analyzing your ability to speak, not your thinking pattern, not your IQ. So if you're fluent enough, it doesn't matter. They are still going to judge you by your fluency, not your ideas. The third question is, what if the examiner interrupts me? Well, this happens a lot, and especially when you have a lot of things to say and the time has erupted. So if they think you have talked enough and have gathered enough information or the time is up, they will obviously interrupt you to move on to the next question. This doesn't mean that you did something wrong. So be careful at this instance. Some people think they had made a mistake. They come back to me and ask me, teacher, when I was talking, the examiner interrupted me and moved to the next question. Does this mean that I did something wrong? This doesn't mean that you did something wrong. Actually, this means they were satisfied with the amount of time you have spoken or the information you have given. Then they wanted to move on to the next question because they don't have a lot of time to examine you. The next question is, do I have to tell the truth? No, you don't have to tell the truth, but telling the truth is usually a better policy because it helps you to not spend a lot of time focusing on creating the story. If you tell something that happened to you or happened to your friend that you remember well, it's usually better than trying to make up as you go. But sometimes you don't have ideas of your own or your friend, so you have to make up stuff. So whenever you're practicing for this exam, I actually advise you to focus on who you are or the stories about your friends and the details, and also try to be a little bit creative in case you've been surprised in the examination, asked you something that you haven't experienced yourself. You have to be able to create this conversation. It's part of the exam. They don't know if it happened to you. All they're trying to judge you is your English level, not your ability to tell the truth or not. What if I make a grammar mistake while speaking? This is very normal. Even native speakers make grammar mistake. But when you focus on this grammar mistake and instead of moving on, you start dwelling on this mistake, then it's going to affect your performance. But if you correct yourself and move on, or maybe you didn't correct yourself because you didn't realize it, it's okay. Just focus on communicating. The better you communicate, the better points you're going to get. Is it better to give long or short answers? Obviously, short answers are not a good policy because it's a timed exam. If you give too long answer, they're always going to stop you. It's better to give you as much as you can because otherwise they won't be able to help you. Do I have to talk for the full 2 minutes? No, you don't have to talk for the full 2 minutes, but at least try to get closer to this one. But usually I try to tell people, don't focus on 2 minutes, try to speak for as long as it takes. When you're practicing, don't practice for only 2 minutes, practice for more than 2 minutes. Try to add examples, think about the past, the future, etc. So when the time is up, they're obviously going to stop you themselves. What if I run out of things to say? This is very normal. It happens sometimes. As I said before, you can talk about things that happens in the past, the things that are happening right now, the thing that you like to happen in the future. This is past, present, and future method helps you. Another method is giving examples. Another one is actually trying to talk about something that didn't happen to you but happened to somebody else as if it happened to you, if it's something to do with you. So there are lots of ways you can talk, you can tell a story, you can extend, so just be free to talk about anything that you think is a little bit relevant to the topic at that moment. Because as again, I said this before, they're trying to assess your ability to speak this language, not your ability to tell the truth or to give the correct information on very specific subject. Can I change the topic if I don't like it? Unfortunately, no. You don't go there and choose your own topic. The topics are already set. So whatever they ask you, you have to answer. You don't have option of changing the topic whenever you feel like changing it. So be aware, be ready for anything. And they don't mean, for example, sometimes they ask you questions about entrepreneurship. You have never been an entrepreneur, let's say, and you don't have an idea about running a business. Just to say your thoughts, tell what you know and what you think about it. They won't judge you by your experience from entrepreneurship. No, they're going to judge you by your ability to explain yourself. Should I use slang to sound more natural? Slangs depends on the heaviness of the slang. If you use too much slang, it could be a problem, but there are some slangs that are acceptable that we use in daily basis, even in formal context. So if you can avoid slangs, it's okay. But if you can use a few slangs that helps you to communicate better, especially for part 1 and part 2, these things are allowed. It's not a problem. Just don't use a vulgar language. Don't use bad language. Don't curse in the middle of the exam or those kind of stuff. So be careful with those kind of stuff. Otherwise, you can use very simple, common slangs that you already know. And probably you're not even aware they are slang sometimes. These things are very common. They're used in some formal contexts as well. So if you love slangs, you just have to be careful not to overuse them. And the last question is, what if I don't know a specific word? Well, if you don't know a specific word, I always say you either find a different word as a synonym or try to go around. You don't have to say everything with a very specific terminology on that very specific moment. What you're supposed to focus on is, how can I explain this situation with the words that I already know? I always say in the speaking examination or in the usage of language, especially at the minimum level when you don't have enough vocabularies, it's like being in a forest and the only weapon you have is a gun or is a knife or whatever. To save your life, you have to use whatever you have. If it's a stone, if it's a gun, whatever you have at that moment. You can't dream of a machine gun that you left at home or a bomb that you left at home. I don't know who stays at home with the bombs, but you get the point. You can't dream of something that you don't have at that moment. All you can do is, how am I going to use what I have to have the best results at this very moment? So those are the tips for this examination. If you have any questions, don't forget to drop them on the comment. If there is any specific topic that you're worrying about, even if it's not about speaking, it's about IELTS or other examinations, academic examinations, just drop in the comments and I'll be glad to give you some info about it. Take care of yourself and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon.